Welcome to the Street.com TV. I'm Greg Greenberg, and we're back with the 5 dumbest things on Wall Street this week with senior editor Colin Barr. Welcome, Colin.
Hi, Greg.
How's it going?
Excellent.
Got some dumb stuff?
Very dumb.
Let's go to the top of the list. Piper Jaffray and their Amazon call.
Right. They downgraded Amazon on Monday. Stock had been up 70% since last July. So the guy said, well, we don't see margins expanding enough to justify a further run-up in the stock.
Sounds sensible at the time.
Seemed okay at the time, but then the next day they came out and they reported earnings and they said, actually, our margins are expanding. And then the stock did go up. Stock went up $8.
Not so sensible that time.
And so then he upgraded them. He was like, well, all right, we got to upgrade. Actually, margin expansion is coming.
Not sensible again?
not really working out so well. So he downgraded the thing. If you sold when he downgraded and bought when he upgraded, you missed $8. That's not what you want.
No.
You don't want that so much.
You should have just done nothing.
Right. He should have been one of the quiet guys.
Yeah.
Yes. Been
better. You think they should have just called Jeffrey? I think it's the Jaffray that screwed him.
I don't really get that. They're based in Minneapolis, though.
Yeah. So it's off Wall Street.
Go Gophers.
Number 2, Apple.
Apple. Right. Well, they had a huge quarter. They also have this backdating thing. The former CFO, Fred Anderson, he got charged by the SEC. He settled the thing. He did not admit any wrongdoing. There was no wrongdoing. Never any wrongdoing.
But he was pointing the finger at Steve Jobs.
So he said it's all Steve Jobs' fault. Although I'm no huge fan of Steve Jobs, but you would have to say this guy was the CFO. And so he's out there saying, Steve Jobs told me it was okay. Steve Jobs said it was all right. He's the CFO. What does he expect?
Yeah. Well, Steve Jobs told him to jump off an iPod.
A video iPod?
A video iPod.
Right.
Would that make it okay?
Right, if Steve Jobs said, let's give everyone a video iPod, would that make it okay? Would not make it okay.
It would be kind of cool, though.
That would be cool.
Number 3 on the list, Travelzoo.
Travelzoo, right. Well, they're an online travel company. Other online travel companies exclude, let's say, Expedia and Priceline. They're like 20 times bigger than these guys. So an analyst asked Travelzoo on their call, they're like, so is competition becoming a problem here? Because their margins were way down. And the guy said, well, competitors have always been trying to imitate us.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. They're all trying to imitate Travelzoo.
Travelzoo.
Right.
That's a very volatile stock.
Right,
that thing moves up and down 5 points at a clip.
It's ridiculous, right? I think the float is like 3 shares in that thing.
Yes. Number 4, Vontage.
Vontage, right? I don't. Do we even need to explain what's funny about them?
Lest we say more, but the stock jumped this week on a legal case.
Way up, right? They had a win, right? They've been down 80%. So then the court said, all right, we're not going to put you out of business. So that was nice. So they're not going to go out of business.
Saved by the court.
Right. So they went up. They went up to like 450, and then the next day, being Vontage, they're like, you know what? We're not going to leave this alone. Here's the thing: we're Vontage. We're fighting for consumer choice. We're fighting for innovation. This is all a patent case. It has nothing to do with freedom and innovation, I would argue.
Argue it to the judge.
Right. Take this to a judge.
Number 5 on the list is Embark, and that's EMBARQ.
Right. Big Q. Take off the second Q for savings. They've got the Sprint spin-off there. That's the wireline business that Sprint got rid of so that they could focus on that wireless business, which is going so well for them. So these guys are actually doing okay. And they put out a press release that, once again, they quoted Jeff Kagan, who's a big, he likes to talk about David and Goliath and stuff like that. And he said that this was very impressive. And Jeff Kagan thinks everything is impressive. And
it's like Paul Abdul on the American Idol.
Right, and the last thing
everyone did a good job.
The last thing that he thought was impressive was when AT&T sold the AT&T wireless IPO back in 2000. And when that happened, he said, this is the smartest thing they've done this year. The other things they had done that year were spin off Lucent and hire Michael Armstrong.
Those weren't good things.
Those weren't such good things.
It's like Paul Abdul meets George Gilder.
Right. Gilder, right. One of the good guys.
Remember that guy?
Once again, yeah, teleconomist.
And he was dumb, just like the list. We're going to have 5 more dumb things next week.
5 more. 5 additional.
Colin Barr, Greg Greenberg. This is a giddy one.
This is a huge one.
5 dumbest things on Wall Street this week. We'll see you next week. Thanks a lot, Colin.
Thanks.